There are some operators that are actually absolutely on board and fine. They know what they need to do to be competitive in the business environment. There's others that are just going to be very content and satisfied with doing their medical transport. That's where they get their pay. But, we need to also get back to the main issue here. And Mark referenced it a little bit. We are an education community. We also have many organizations that come here. For example, the State Bar, a 3-day event. It's an absolute nightmare for the people who need service. And it's a nightmare to come in to take the State Bar exam, to get your law license. It's a bigger nightmare, as was referenced from one of our colleagues across the state, when an individual is drunk at 2 o'clock in the morning and can't find a way home. And the last thing we want them to do is to get behind a vehicle. The service at nighttime, and I have frequented Vic's establishments many times, usually not past 10 o'clock. But I've heard that after midnight, service is scant and very inconsistent. And if we really want to have thriving downtowns, and I was the mayor of a downtown community, a city with a downtown for 13 years, we need to have all the service infrastructure in place to make it a reality. Okay?
Obviously, a lot of people know your business and patronize your business. What would the main benefits be if this came through?
Well, there's not a culture that exists right now that is confident in calling a cab, confident that they would show up, dispatcher that would even pick up the phone. To create a culture where people will travel in this manner will bring another level of business and another level of clientele into our respective businesses. So there's currently not the framework in place to even be having a discussion about taking business away that isn't currently sustainable.
You patronize when you travel, you patronize this restaurant?
Yes, I travel the United States regularly. I've taken Uber in probably about 20 cities. I've interviewed personally 75 Uber drivers. It's been a life-changing experience. This app has been pretty uplifting to a lot of people that have come from some pretty rough situations because it is an inexpensive entrepreneurial opportunity. Someone could be in business with an asset that they already own and be very profitable. Drivers get 80% of whatever that tab is, and it's their money. And so those profit ratios are much better than drivers of local cab companies. And especially in cities that are much larger, like San Francisco and New York City, those medallion fees are astronomical. And we're talking about upstate New York here. But this provides an opportunity for drivers to actually start their own business or work part-time. And, Matt can attest, on a Thursday, Friday, or Saturday night, it's impossible to call a cab for a customer because those cabs are just not equipped to satisfy the demand. But with the introduction of ride-sharing and the opportunity for people to maybe make a couple of bucks on a Thursday, Friday, or Saturday night using their own car to shuttle people around, then that demand would then be satisfied, creating a different culture that currently does not exist in our capital region, which has very subversive parochial boundaries. And people talk about the Hudson River like it's the Great Wall of China. How can you cross the river? Because there's not an easy way to do so right now if you want to go out and have a couple of drinks with dinner.
Matt, do you mind if I ask you the same question?
I'm the worst public speaker. So what is the question specifically?
The question is, again, you're a businessman. Everybody knows your businesses, and they patronize your businesses. What will be the benefits?
I think drunk driving is number one. I mean, I would assume that it's pretty common for people to leave after a few drinks, and I know personally I would take Lyft or Uber almost every time I went out to a restaurant. It's just the satisfaction of somebody going to that restaurant and leaving on all notes positive. Oftentimes they leave with a negative, opinion of the experience because the cab situation is so bad. And I have a lot of friends visiting. The Amtrak situation is just a nightmare. I just think it would improve a million different ways.
I want to add one more thing to your question earlier about the taxi companies, and I think it's something that it shocked me, and hopefully it's going to shock you. As I told you, we've been working with the local governments, primarily Albany, Troy, Schenectady, Saratoga, Rensselaer, and the town colony, because that's where the major transportation comes out in the capital region. And probably 2 months ago, we convened all the mayors, supervisors of those communities, along with their police chiefs at a meeting. And I share with them some of the dark underbelly of the taxi industry, of what's going on. But one of the things that really got the chiefs' attention, and they put their chips all in on this whole situation, is I talked about the lack of consistency on how even credit card processing is done. And the majority of credit card processing that is done, from what I understand from the dark underbelly, is basically calling in a credit card number over the radio. So in this day and age, when we hear about credit card theft, we hear about Target and all its challenges, I would think that maybe we might want to look at a better way to cover our transactions for taxi service. And admittedly, some of those companies are moving in that direction, but not quick enough and not enough doing it.
I have a quick question. What would be the most valuable action people who live around here can do at this stage in the game to try to help this?
You want to answer that or you want me to?
Please, you're the professional.
Well, you can stop calling me because I'm on board. But you can always call us, send an email. For those who are in other parts of the state, the most important thing is reach out to your legislators. And yes, share it with the committee chairs. I can tell you that they are working on it. They're very serious about it. You know, not a done deal yet. Until we get past the 17th or 18th, we'll know if it's for sure. But, you know, we have a broad swath of people throughout the state of New York that are very interested in this, particularly in our urban areas. Call your legislators. Let them know how you feel.
Thanks. Great question. Okay. Thank you for coming today. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you, sir.
All right, John.